A professor of biology in New South Wales has tested Australian-grown berries and discovered pesticide residues. In some cases are high enough to push both children and adults over the maximum amount regulators recommend should be consumed daily. Traces of a banned chemical were also picked up.
That's right. Well, background briefing reporter Rachel Clayton is here to explain the whole story with us. So, Rachel, talk to us about this pesticide. What is it? How did you find it?
The berries this scientist tested, she found there were between 4 and 11 different types of pesticides in the punnets. They were all within the legal limit that you're allowed to have on berries, but there was one in particular that was quite concerning, and it's called dimethoate. It's an insecticide used by the berry industry to combat fruit fly, Queensland fruit fly, but it is banned in the European Union because of its toxicity.
Okay.
And the reason it was concerning is this professor in 3 of the samples found that the concentrations, while they were within the legal limit, it would push the average 6-year-old child over how much regulators say they should be consuming of dimethoate a day. It's called the acceptable daily intake, and it's calculated over a lifetime. So there is a limit that you should be eating based on your weight a day, assuming if you eat that much every day over the course of your life, you'll remain healthy. Right. You'll be fine. But within about 20 grams, so a handful of berries, a 6-year-old child would exceed that limit. It would be less than a punnet for an 80-kilogram adult. Okay. And the reason it's so concerning is because these limits on the pesticides on our food is meant to be updated if we're eating more of a food. So if we were eating 2 or 3 berries a day, then it wouldn't be that concerning. But when we start to eat more of a food, the health authorities are meant to start to say, maybe don't use as much of that because people are eating more. So the limit of pesticide on apples is quite low compared to coriander, because you hope no one's eating bunches and bunches of coriander every day, but we might eat a couple of apples, so the limit is lower on apples. Right. The reason that it's so high still on berries is our chemicals regulator has been using consumption data that is 30 years old. It is assuming we eat berries at the same levels that we did in 1995. It hasn't updated that data in 30 years.
Wow.
And that's the problem here. We are consuming a lot more berries.
Yeah, than we once did. So just briefly, Rachel, what does the regulator or the industry have to say about this?
Yeah.
Well, since investigating the story, the regulator has come out and said that it's going to now review how much dimethoate is allowed to be used on berries. It's conceded it is using data that is 30 years old, and since 1995, the amount of berries that the average Australian is consuming has gone up by up to about 900% across different age groups.
Wow. And
there was also, the scientists also detected traces of a banned pesticide called thiametin. The limits that she detected were low. They were more trace amounts, but it is concerning, and there are agricultural, horticultural experts have told me that the regulation for our berry farmers needs to ramp up because they fear that some people might be using pesticides that aren't allowed to be used. The industry peak body, Berries Australia, says that they don't believe farmers are using a banned pesticide because it's been banned since 2001 and there are cheaper alternatives on the market now. Right. Since going to them, they also did their own testing. So they tested 14 batches of berries from supermarkets and told me that the tests came back blank for thiametin, so no thiametin was detected. But Professor Kirsten Benkendorf, who did this testing, says there really needs to be more of an investigation into why that banned chemical was detected, and changes in how the health regulators decide on how much dimethoate, which is banned in other countries, is allowed on the berries that we eat.